After paying off my son's incredible $30,000 debt, I discovered a hidden truth that transformed everything I thought I knew about sacrifice and success. The rain poured like buckets from the sky, a mirror to Daniel's turbulent emotions. As he stood in his one-bedroom home, the shadows of doubt clung to him tighter than the damp air. He had just written the check that would pull Tyler from the brink of a financial disaster, and it felt worse than losing everything he owned. The thunder rattled the windows, and a similar storm brewed inside him, full of confusion and anxiety. Had he just enabled his son's failures instead of rescuing him? Tyler, only 19, was his reason to rise each morning, the one bright light in a world that often felt so dark. Daniel had dreamed of creating opportunities for him, ensuring he found pathways that seemed closed to himself growing up. But now, as he stared at the letter that had turned his world upside down, he felt the crushing weight of expectations. Tyler's college experience had morphed into a heavy burden, something he barely recognized. It wasn't just the debt, it was the disappointment that lurked beneath the surface. Daniel's heart raced. After years of hustling at 2 jobs, scrimping on groceries, and sacrificing his own dreams to give Tyler the best, was this the reward? Silence had settled between them, and the laughter that once filled their home was replaced by an awkward tension. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. Days turned into weeks, and just as the storm clouds finally parted, Daniel stumbled upon the truth that erupted like a volcano in his heart. Tyler had received a scholarship. A generous one, too enough to erase that staggering debt. Yet it remained an undisclosed part of his son's life. The betrayal twisted inside him like a knife. Had Tyler hidden this from him? And if so, why? Confrontation was inevitable. Daniel felt the air grow thick and tense when he broached the subject one evening, the silence so heavy it felt like a weight on his chest. "You got a scholarship, Tyler. Why didn't you tell me?" he shouted, words flowing out in a mix of fear and anger. Tyler looked down, his face flushed with shame. "I didn't want to disappoint you. I just thought it wouldn't matter." The words trailed off, and Daniel felt the chasm between them widen. Their home had become a battleground, not of fists but of hurt feelings and unspoken fears. Until the community picnic, the one event they both dreaded, called them back together under the bright lights with laughter thrumming in the air. In the chaos of bodies and voices, they finally faced the music about family loyalty and societal pressures. But the whispers encircling them felt unforgiving, judgmental, and heavy. Could they truly mend their broken trust? Would the hope of ever reconciling the distance between their hearts shine through the whispers? As they stood, the storm clouds of their past closing in, the uncertainty loomed, leaving the question hanging painfully in the air. Can Daniel and Tyler redefine their bond in a world quick to label them failures? Everything I thought I knew about us. The community picnic buzzed with laughter and chatter, a stark contrast to the storm in Daniel's heart. He watched families gather, children darting between adults, their faces painted with happiness. It was a scene he'd once loved to participate in, but felt a million miles away from now. Tyler stood beside him, a constant reminder of the rift that stretched between them. "Hey, let us take a walk," Daniel suggested, pushing his own discomfort aside. He needed to bridge this gap, to beat back the shadows of doubt. Tyler hesitated but nodded. They stepped away from the noise, moving toward the edge of the park where the trees swayed softly, and the air smelled of fresh-cut grass and hope. "Tyler," Daniel began, careful to keep his voice steady. "I get that you wanted to spare me, but this hurts." He turned to face his son, the pain reflected in his eyes. "I thought we were a team. You should have told me about the scholarship." Tyler kicked at the ground, his eyes focused on the grass. "I thought you'd be disappointed that I didn't work hard enough to earn it," he said softly, his voice cracking. I was afraid you'd think I got lucky. What I think, Daniel pressed, searching for the right words, is that you should be trusted me enough to share this with me. I want you to succeed, no matter how you do it. Silence settled between them like a thick fog. Tyler finally looked up, his eyes shimmering. I guess I wanted to prove I could do this on my own. I didn't want to be a burden, he admitted. Daniel's heart ached at his son's vulnerability. Son, you're never a burden to me. I want to be there for you, especially when the going gets tough. That's what family is for. The confession floated between them, palpable and real. A flicker of understanding crossed Tyler's face, and Daniel felt hope stir within him. So what now? Tyler asked, anxiety creeping back into his tone. Daniel searched for an answer, considering their past, the stolen laughs, the unspoken words. We start fresh. We talk. No more secrets. I want you to feel free to be open with me. Can you do that? Tyler nodded slowly, tentative but willing. Yeah, I do like that. As they turned to head back to the picnic, Daniel felt lighter. Maybe they could rewrite their story, one conversation at a time. They stepped into the vibrant crowd, laughter rolling around them. Friends waved, and the familiar faces offered a shade of comfort. Yet, a whisper in the back of Daniel's mind nudged at him, asking if they could hold on to this newfound alliance when real challenges arose. Suddenly, a commotion erupted nearby. A group of teens had taken to a game of tug-of-war, cheers erupting as one side pulled the other into the mud. It was chaos, laughter, humility wrapped up in a raw moment, but it also felt like a loud reminder of life's unpredictability. Come on, let us join, Tyler shouted, pulling Daniel toward the hilarity. As they neared the growing crowd, the excitement contagious, Daniel felt a twinge of hope. Maybe they could leap into this chaos together. But in that fleeting moment, a figure loomed at the edge of the picnic, watching intently. Someone from Daniel's past, someone who could threaten everything they had just begun to rebuild. With an ominous feeling settling in his stomach, Daniel tightened his grip on Tyler's shoulder. What would the reappearance of this old acquaintance mean for their fragile truce? Daniel's heart raced as he locked eyes with the figure standing apart from the jubilant crowd. A tall man with sharp features and a knowing smile. It was Eric, an old friend from a time when life felt simpler. They had shared dreams and laughter back then, but that bond had faltered under the weight of unspoken words and unresolved issues. Dad? Tyler's voice pulled him from his reverie. The concern in his son's eyes grounded Daniel amid the swirling chaos of emotion. He felt the warmth of the picnic behind him, the aroma of grilled burgers, the delightful sounds of people enjoying each other's company. But all of that faded under the shadow Eric cast in his mind. We can't back down now, Tyler said, stepping forward. Let us just enjoy today. Right, Daniel replied, forcing a smile. But his gaze remained stuck on Eric, who seemed to be waiting for what Daniel couldn't fathom. It wasn't just the tension between them. There was something deeper, a past that echoed with remnants of pain and choices that altered their lives. Tyler pulled him toward the tug-of-war, shouting excitedly about forming a team. Daniel followed, the sound of laughter and cheers almost drowning out his worries, but the unease about Eric wouldn't leave him. The game burst into excitement, and Daniel found himself laughing with the other parents, cheering as one side fell into the muddy grass. It was exhilarating for Tyler, who dove right into the heart of the competition, and for a moment, Daniel let himself be swept up in the joy. They went head-to-head against another team, and Daniel could see the fierce determination in Tyler's eyes as they tugged with all their might. In that moment of struggle and laughter, the bonds of their newly rekindled relationship felt strong. But when Daniel glanced over at Eric again, he was gone, vanished into the crowd. A knot twisted in his stomach. What did that mean? The past resurfacing was a risk he hadn't expected to confront today, not when they were trying to build something new. As the game ended, each team panting and covered in mud, Tyler pulled Daniel into a side hug. See? We're a team. Like you said. His smile beamed with joy, a euphoria that Daniel longed to preserve. Yeah, we really are, Daniel responded, his throat tightening with emotion. Yet, he felt the lingering uncertainty, the sudden realization that restructuring their relationship would be a journey fraught with unexpected choices and maybe even more losses. Ty, I want to be there for you, he said carefully, but something's tugging at me, something I need to address first. Tyler frowned slightly, sensing the shift in his father's tone. What's wrong? Is it about that guy? Eric? Daniel hesitated, weighing his words. It's complicated, but we can't let old shadows ruin us. You and I need to be honest about everything. He glanced around, seeking Eric, but the crowd blurred his vision. As he turned back, Tyler looked confused but resolute. Whatever it is, we can handle it together. Right, Daniel said, trying to muster the confidence in his voice. How could he ever explain the weight of their shared histories? Would Tyler truly understand? As they began to walk back toward the picnic area, Daniel made a silent vow. They would confront the past. They had to, if they were going to embrace their future. But just then, Daniel's phone buzzed in his pocket, pulling him from his thoughts. He pulled it out, his heart dropping at the name flashing on the screen. What new challenge was this unexpected call about to bring into their already complicated lives? Daniel's heart sank. The screen flashed Eric's name like a warning beacon, stirring memories that he had tried so hard to bury. He couldn't help but feel a rush of anxiety. Had Eric come back into his life to stir up the past for a reason? Dad? Tyler's voice cut through, concerned. You okay? Yeah, just let me take this, Daniel said, stepping away from the noise of the picnic, the laughter now a distant hum. He pressed answer, trying to mask the tension in his voice. Eric? Daniel, came the calm yet guarded reply. It's been a while. Yeah, it has, Daniel managed, gripping the phone tighter. What do you want? There was a pause, a silence that echoed like a tolling bell of nostalgia. I need to talk to you. It's about what happened. Daniel's chest tightened. It was the unspoken words he had feared. The ones that turned friendships into memories dusted by time. I'm busy right now. This isn't really the time. Tyler wandered closer, hands tugging at his shirt as he waited to meet his father's gaze. Daniel could see the mixture of confusion and concern written on his son's face. He felt ashamed for letting past shadows creep in on what should have been a joyous day. Please, just hear me out. Eric's voice broke into his thoughts. There's something you need to know. About what, Eric? What could you possibly say that could change anything? I think it could. I wouldn't reach out otherwise. Something is coming to light, something that involves us both. Daniel felt a shiver run down his spine. Us both. His heart raced again, but this time it was more out of concern than fear. Just tell me what you're talking about. I can't. Not over the phone. Can we meet? Why should I? Daniel replied, angry at the old wounds. After everything. Because the time has come to stop running, Eric replied, his voice steady. For both of us. And for Tyler. At the mention of Tyler, Daniel hesitated. This wasn't just about him anymore. It was about his son, too. A flicker of hope ignited in his chest, a notion that maybe they could find clarity among the chaos. Fine, he said, holding back the flood of emotions. Where? They arranged a spot, a diner on the edge of town. One where they used to hang out in the blissful days of youth. As Daniel ended the call, he turned to find Tyler watching him, searching for answers. Is he okay? Tyler asked, worry lacing his voice. Yeah, buddy. It's just complicated. Tyler seemed to weigh that answer carefully. Does it have to do with you two being friends again? Something like that, Daniel replied, feeling the weight of impending choices settling heavily on his shoulders. It was too much to explain now, not when they both had so much to address. The rest of the picnic faded into a blur as he mentally prepared for his meeting with Eric. As Daniel watched Tyler playing with his friends, laughter echoing in his ears, he felt torn between the past and this new reality. Would reliving old wounds help heal the present? A question hung ominously above him. What was so urgent that made Eric reach out now? The unresolved tension pinched at his heart, and yet, he knew they had to confront it. As they packed up to leave, Daniel felt as if he was standing on the brink of a precipice. Could he push through this darkness for Tyler's sake, with one final glance at his son, who was oblivious to the weight of the moment, Daniel made the choice. He would face whatever Eric had to say. But deep down, he couldn't shake the feeling that this was only the beginning. What truth awaited him at the diner? What unearthing revelations lay ahead, waiting to reshape their lives? As Daniel drove toward the diner, the surroundings felt more like a blur than a reality. The trees flickered past, their lush greens contrasting the churning thoughts in his mind. He stole a glance at Tyler, who was absorbed in his music, headphones in, tapping his fingers to the beat. "Dad?" Tyler's voice broke through the fog, pulling Daniel back to the moment. "Are you nervous?" "Just a little," Daniel admitted, forcing a smile. "You know how it is when you revisit old friends." Tyler nodded, though the furrowed brow suggested he sensed the layers beneath his father's words. "You'll be okay, right?" "Yeah, buddy." "I will," he said, adding a bit more strength to his voice than he felt. The truth was, this felt heavy, like carrying a boulder uphill. What Eric might reveal could shake everything Daniel had built so carefully over the years. When they arrived, the diner looked almost unchanged from their youth, the neon lights buzzing softly, the familiar smell of fries and burgers wafting through the air. A part of him longed for the simplicity of those days, when worries were few and friendship seemed everlasting. They walked in together, the bell above the door jingling, announcing their presence. Daniel's gaze scanned the booths, finally landing on the last table in the corner where Eric sat. At first glance, Eric looked older, lines marking his face that hadn't been there before. But his eyes, those deep, assessing eyes, were the same. "Hey," Eric said, standing as they approached. "Thanks for coming." "Let's cut to the chase," Daniel replied, feeling the tension curl in his stomach. "You said you had something to tell me." "Yeah, I think there's a lot we need to address," Eric started, nervously looking down at his coffee cup. "But first, I want to know how you've been." "I've been good," Daniel replied, crossing his arms. "Raising my son. Moving on." Eric nodded, but Daniel could see the weight he carried inside, burdens laid thick from what they had left unresolved years ago. "Look, I know this isn't easy," Eric said finally, his voice steady but vulnerable. "The reason I called you, it's about the accident. There are things coming to light that you deserve to know." Daniel felt the pit in his stomach deepen. He had kept so many pieces of that moment locked away, like a closet he didn't want to open. The accident had shattered their lives, replacing laughter with silence. "What do you mean?" Eric took a deep breath. "I was there that night, but I was afraid to admit how things really happened. Things that could change how we remember that day. How you remember it." The silence that followed was thick, like fog before a storm. Daniel's mind raced. The very memories he wanted to forget threatened to flood back in. "Why now?" he managed to ask. "Why bring this up after all this time?" "Because I thought I could run from it," Eric replied, eyes pleading for understanding. "But I can't anymore. I want to take responsibility, Daniel. For everything. And I think you need to know the truth, especially for Tyler." Tyler, hearing his name, looked between them, confusion painted on his youthful face. Daniel realized he had to protect his son from the shadows of the past, but how? "Tyler, why don't you?" Daniel began, but Eric interjected. "No, he should hear this. It's not just our past anymore. It involves his future." Daniel's heart raced as he weighed Eric's words. How could the truth about that night help, when it already felt like a festering wound? But there was no turning back now. "What are you trying to say, Eric?" As the disclosure hung between them, Daniel braced himself for the impact. He could feel it coming, the moment that might change everything. Would he be ready for the truth? And then, just when it seemed Eric would speak, the door swung open, and an unexpected figure stepped inside, the kind of interruption Daniel had not anticipated. Who was it, and how would they affect what was about to unfold? The whole dynamic of our lives. The door swung open and in walked Lily, the girl from their past, Daniel's first crush. She had been part of the group that felt the aftershocks of that terrible night, just like Daniel and Eric. Her presence turned the familiar diner into a whirlpool of memories, a tidal wave crashing onto the shores of their lives. "Lily?" Daniel blurted out, shock freezing him in place. Memories poured in like water through a cracked dam. "What are you doing here?" Her eyes widened, and she took a tentative step forward. I didn't know you'd be here. I got back into town for a while. She glanced at Eric, then back at Daniel, her voice soft yet firm. I heard about everything. I wanted to support you both. Mention of the accident slipped like a blade into the moment, cutting through the air thick with emotion. Tyler, still trying to make sense of it all, shifted uncomfortably in his seat. What do you know, Lily? Daniel asked, feeling protective instincts sharpen even against the vortex of nostalgia. What did you hear? I heard Eric was finally ready to talk, she replied, her eyes carrying a weight Daniel hadn't seen in years. And I think it's about time. There are things we've kept quiet that need to be said. Eric's expression shifted. A flicker of disappointment flickered across his face, but quickly morphed into something like determination. I wanted to shield you from this too, Lily. From the truth? She shot back, her voice raising slightly. You know that's not how it works. You can't keep running from what happened, Eric. None of us can. Daniel watched as the tension spiraled and twisted in the small space between them. Hatred, sorrow, and longing danced as they addressed wounds unhealed. He felt his heart race not only from the chorus of memories, but from the fear of where this would lead. Tyler. Daniel's voice wavered as he turned to his son. I think it's no. I want to hear it, Tyler interrupted, his youthful resolve firming in the shadow of the adult's turmoil. I need to know, Dad. The diner grew quieter, the sounds of sizzling burgers and clinking dishes fading into the background. Suddenly, it felt like they were on a stage, with bright lights illuminating the raw emotion unfolding in this public space. Eric shifted in his seat, finally finding his voice. The accident changed us all, Tyler. But the truth, what I finally have to say, could help you understand why your dad is like he is, why he carries that burden. Daniel felt the muscles in his chest tighten as he listened. Words barely dared to echo in the air, but emotion screamed loudly, vibrating within him. Could this be the moment when everything changed? Was he prepared to watch the fabric of his son's upbringing unravel in front of everyone? Across the table, Lily set a steady gaze on Daniel, empathy woven into her expression. Whatever the truth is, it has to come out. Then, maybe we can start to let go. The moment stretched out, a delicate balance hanging on fragile breaths. Daniel's heart hammered, a rhythm of past regrets echoing in the confines of the diner. The truth had caught up with them, and it wouldn't be kind. With the weight of their past lingering like smoke in the air, Daniel's throat tightened. Would they manage to survive the fallout, or would their long-standing ties snap under the pressure of revealed secrets? Okay, Daniel finally said, drawing in a deep breath that echoed their unresolved history. Let us hear it. But as Eric opened his mouth to finally reveal the truth, Tyler's phone buzzed on the table, an unexpected interruption that sent a ripple of worry through Daniel's chest. What new developments lay waiting behind that digital screen? Would they clash with Eric's revelations, or lead them down another path entirely? With anticipation hanging thick in the air, Daniel felt the ground shift under his feet. What would the new message say, and could they handle one more truth? Tyler glanced down at his phone, the screen lighting up with an incoming message. For a heartbeat, time froze. Daniel watched his son's eyes dart across the text, the tension in the diner hanging thick like smoke. His heart raced as he felt the weight of the moment. What could be so important that it interrupted the very essence of their conversation, a conversation that could finally untangle the deep-rooted secrets that bound them? Tyler? Daniel prompted, trying to maintain a steady tone. What is going on? Tyler's brow furrowed as he read. It's from Jenna. She's in the hospital. The words hit the air like a thundering drum, igniting panic in the pit of Daniel's stomach. Jenna was a good friend, a gentle soul who carried her own burdens, but this? A hospital visit could mean so many things. What happened? Eric asked, concern visible on his face, the subject of their past momentarily forgotten. Tyler looked up, vulnerability swimming in his eyes. She was in a car accident on the same street as that night. His voice trembled, sounding younger than ever. A cold clarity washed over Daniel, memories crashing like waves. The weight of the past was heavy, and now it hung over them like a dark cloud. He instinctively reached out to Tyler, placing a hand on his shoulder. We need to go, he said quietly. Right now. Lily's expression mirrored the fear palpable in the air. Do you want me to come with you? She offered, genuine concern washing over her face. I think we should all go, Daniel said. A rush of gratitude surged through him. She had stepped back into their lives at such a critical moment, and it felt right to include her. As they stood to leave, Daniel felt a mix of dread and urgency pulling him. He stole a glance at Eric, who met his gaze with a tormented look, but the truth still loomed unaddressed between them. Would this news further entangle the past with the present? They hurried out of the diner, the cool evening air wrapping around them like a cloak. The drive to the hospital was a blur of emotions: fear for Jenna, anger at the unresolved secrets, and a broader question circling in Daniel's mind. How could they possibly fit everything that had happened, and was still happening, into one lifetime? Tyler kept glancing at his watch, his worry palpable. What if something's really wrong? Daniel offered a reassurance he didn't fully feel. She's strong. She'll pull through. But the truth surfaced in his mind. Gnawing at him, couldn't Jenna be yet another reminder of what had happened to them? The scars of their shared past were not only about them. They rippled out, touching everyone they loved. And now they had to face everything head-on. They arrived at the hospital with an urgency that felt heavy. The clinical scent of antiseptic filled the air, instantly grounding Daniel in a reality he hated. As they rushed to the information desk, his heart pounded, each beat reminding him of the untold stories that still needed voicing. Here to see Jenna? The receptionist asked, her tone practiced and calm. Yes, Tyler responded, his voice almost breaking. What room is she in? Daniel felt the air shift, the weight of knowing that there was much to unravel. As they followed directions toward Jenna's room, a new spark ignited in Daniel's chest, the desire to mend, to heal old wounds and forge connections anew. But just as they approached the door, Daniel hesitated. Could he truly face this next chapter, with the echoes of the past still lingering? What if everything they thought they knew was about to change, once again? Are you ready? Lily asked quietly, sensing his hesitation. No, Daniel admitted, staring at the door ahead. But we have to go in. With a deep breath, he pushed the door open, the room bathed in soft hospital light. Jenna lay there, fragile yet alive, a reminder of the life that still held so much potential. In that moment, Daniel knew this was just the beginning. As he stepped inside, another text chimed on Tyler's phone. What else could this night bring? What more was waiting beyond the threshold of those hospital walls? Jenna lay in the hospital bed, her skin pale against the crisp white sheets. An array of machines beeped softly beside her, the rhythm like a heartbeat to the anxious silence in the room. Daniel stepped fully inside, making room for Tyler and Lily, who followed him. Tyler's eyes were wide, fixated on the girl who had been a constant in their lives, now reduced to this stillness. Jenna? Tyler whispered, moving closer, though his feet felt like lead. Daniel felt the weight of memories, moments past flashing before him. Jenna laughing during summer barbecues. Jenna dispensing laughter and advice, as if they were simply desserts, light yet filling. Now she was here, vulnerable and fragile. Is she going to be okay? Tyler's voice cracked, full of disbelief. Lily brushed a soft finger across Tyler's back, her presence a grounding force. She is strong, remember? She made it through so much already. A nurse entered the room, breaking the silence that seemed to stretch like the void between past and reality. Her smile was gentle, but Daniel noticed the hint of pity in her eyes as she assessed Jenna's state. She's stable for now. We're doing everything we can. Just give her some time to wake up. Time. If only he could stretch it, bend it like clay. Time to mend the past. But how? He caught Eric's eye from the corner of his vision. The unspoken words loomed like shadows. Confessions. Pain. The tangled web they all shared could no longer hold. Do you want to talk? Eric finally asked, breaking Daniel's thoughts, his voice a quiet murmur. The question felt heavy, weighted with significance. Daniel hesitated, torn between the urgency of Jenna's condition and the burden of unresolved histories. Not now, he replied, the words slipping out before he could reevaluate. But it wasn't just about Jenna. It was about what lay in store for them, all the secrets that lingered like ghosts in the room. As if on cue, another sound echoed through the silence, a ping from Tyler's phone, breaking them away from the concern at hand. He pulled it out again, and the color drained from his face. "It's my mom," he said, an edge creeping into his voice. "She wants me to get home." "She says she can't wait." "Wait for what?" Lily asked, her concern morphing into worry. Tyler shook his head. "I don't know, she didn't say. Just now." Daniel felt the tension fold like a paper crane in his chest, ready to tear apart with one wrong move. "Go," he said. "If she needs you, if she's upset, go to her. We'll stay here and get updates on Jenna." "But what if she needs me?" Tyler challenged, his face a mask of inner conflict. "Just text me. We'll figure this out." With one last glance at Jenna, torn between options both heavy and delicate, Tyler nodded and headed for the door, leaving Daniel and Lily behind. The door clicked shut and the immediate air seemed to shift. "We can't keep doing this," Daniel murmured, emotions swelling in his throat, the frustration, the fear, the weight of things left unsaid. "What are you saying?" Lily's voice was low but demanding, drawing Daniel's eyes to hers. "I'm saying we cannot let the past dictate our present any longer. Not with Tyler, not with Jenna. It all needs to change." Just then, another nurse popped her head in. "Excuse me, but the doctor wants to speak to you about Jenna's condition." Daniel felt his heart soar and plummet all at once. This was the moment. Answers awaited. Would they be the kind that freed them, or further shackle them to the remnants of a past they thought they understood? He glanced to Lily, apprehension swirling between them. "We need to know." And with that, he stepped into the uncertain unknown ahead, knowing one thing for sure: everything was about to shift. What revelation would fracture their fragile peace this time? "The way I saw everything." As Daniel stepped out of the room, he felt like he was walking through thick fog. Each footfall echoed in his mind, battling against the noise of his thoughts. The sterile smells of antiseptic and anxiety choked him. He wanted nothing more than to burst through the doors and demand answers, as if shaking the truth loose from its hidden corners. Lily followed closely, staying just a breath behind. He could sense her uncertainty, the way she hesitated before each step, her fingers tightly intertwined with her own as if trying to anchor herself. "Daniel," Lily said softly, barely breaking the silence between them, "what do we do if the news is bad? What if she doesn't wake up?" He stopped. The weight of that possibility hung heavy, like a lead weight in his gut. "We have to believe she will. That's all we can do right now." His voice faltered, betraying the fierce hope he tried to cling to. The door to the doctor's office had a small window, and he could see a figure moving inside. It was hard to read the doctor's expression through the glass. There was the usual calm demeanor, but now Daniel detected an undercurrent of something else, urgency perhaps, an insistence that cut through the facade. "Should we go in?" Lily asked, her voice tremulous, seemingly torn between courage and fear. Daniel placed a steadying hand on the door, pausing for a moment to gather himself. "Yes. Whatever it is, we need to face it together." He leaned closer to the door, listening. The muffled voices inside did little to allay the knot that tightened in his stomach. With a resolute push, he swung the door open, both of them stepping inside as if stepping into a storm. The doctor looked up, his brow furrowed a little deeper than usual. "Mr. Carter, Miss Blake," he greeted, his voice steady but carrying an undercurrent of gravity. "Thank you for coming. We need to discuss Jenna's condition." The world narrowed, and for a moment, Daniel lost his ability to speak. The doctor continued, "Jenna suffered a significant injury from the accident. She's stable now, but there are complications we didn't predict." Daniel's heart raced. "Complications? What kind?" The doctor recounted medical terms, words that twisted in Daniel's mind, conjuring vivid images of monitors beeping and Jenna's inert form. "There's a possibility of severe impairment, or she might not awaken at all. We just can't tell yet." Each word felt like a punch to the gut, knocking the air from his lungs. Daniel turned to Lily, her face pale, eyes wide with shock and despair. He felt it too, this creeping dread that clung to their skin, refusing to let go. "Is there anything we can do?" Lily asked, her voice cracking slightly. The best thing you can do right now is be there for her when she wakes up, if she wakes up. The doctor's voice trailed off, and Daniel saw the flicker of hope in Lily's eyes extinguish. They spent what felt like hours in silence, though it was only a few moments filled with unspoken emotions: fear, love, uncertainty. Finally, Daniel spoke. We want to give up on Jenna. Whatever the risk, we'll fight with her. This vow hung in the air, a fragile promise buoyed by their shared love. As they stepped back into the hallway, Daniel's phone buzzed in his pocket, Tyler's name lighting up the screen. He hesitated, the weight of the moment crashing down. Is it Tyler? Lily asked. Yeah, he said, replying to the text. He wants to know what's happening. Tell him it's bad, Lily whispered. He didn't want to. He deserves hope just like we do. I can't break him down further. But as he pressed send, he contemplated if hope was all they had left to cling to, or if the truth would unearth a strength they never knew existed. Would Tyler's revelation shift everything again? As the uncertainty thickened in the air, Daniel couldn't shake the feeling that there was more to come, that the storm was far from over. How much longer could they keep their fears at bay? The hospital room felt heavier than ever. Daniel couldn't shake the dread that clung to him like a second skin. They'd received bad news about Jenna, and Tyler was still in the dark, unaware of the gravity of the situation. In the moments since they emerged from the doctor's office, time seemed to stretch endlessly. Daniel's heart raced with the weight of unresolved battles looming over them. What now? Lily asked, her voice barely above a whisper, a tremor underscoring her words. He could see the worry etched across her face, the same fear that gripped him. They were at a crossroads, a pivotal moment where everything could shift in an instant. They stood in the sterile hallway, echoes of nurses and distant conversations swirling around them. But all Daniel could focus on was the heavy silence that hung between them. We need to be honest with Tyler, Daniel finally said, the words tumbling out like stones from a backpack he couldn't carry anymore. He deserves to know what's going on. Lily took a deep breath, inhaling courage. But we don't have all the answers yet. What if she doesn't wake up? Daniel cut in, pain reflected in his eyes. Is that the life we want to paint for him? A life caught between hope and despair? No. It has to be real. He has to know it all. Their conversation was interrupted as the door swung open, and the nurse they had seen earlier stepped outside. Excuse me, she said, her expression neutral yet compassionate. Family can only be in the room for a limited time before its shift change. You can stay close, but it'll be somewhat chaotic. Daniel felt the impact of her words settle in. They were on borrowed time. Let's find Tyler, he said, urgency propelling him forward. They walked briskly through the bustling hallways, navigating through streams of worried families and busy doctors. Each face told a story, a tapestry of tension, fear, and sometimes flickers of hope. Finally, they spotted Tyler, leaning against a wall, a quiet storm brewing in his eyes. Hey, where's Jenna? He asked, his voice edged with unease. It was a question hanging in the air, one that demanded an answer laden with unspoken truths. Daniel stepped closer to his son, feeling the weight of the moment. Son, we need to talk, he said, his voice steady but shadowed with emotion. Tyler's eyes darted between Daniel and Lily, questions swirling within him. What's going on? Did the doctor say how she is? Daniel took a deep breath, grappling with the mixture of urgency and responsibility. Jenna has been hurt, Ty. We just found out it's serious. The doctors aren't sure when or if she'll wake up. Tyler's face fell, each word landing like a heavy stone in his heart. No. She can't. His voice quivered, vulnerability surfacing as he struggled to hold back tears. She's strong, bud. Daniel softly reached for his son, pulling him into a tight embrace. But we have to be prepared for whatever comes next. As Tyler's shoulders trembled, Daniel felt his own heart breaking. This wasn't what he wanted for his boy, a storm of heartache instead of the sunny happiness that had once flowed so easily between them. I should have been there with her. Tyler's whisper came muffled, his voice cracked with pain. Daniel knew all too well the weight of should-haves. Listen, Daniel said, pulling back so their eyes connected. You've done nothing wrong. This isn't your fault. It's life unpredictable and unfair. Lily stepped closer, her eyes filled with empathy. Tyler, know that we're all in this together. Jenna needs us. Every hope, every prayer, it means something. Something shifted within Tyler, a flicker of resolve igniting. We should go back in. She needs to know we're here for her. They turned back toward the room, each step resonating with purpose. Daniel kept his hand protectively on Tyler's shoulder, grounding him as the doors opened, revealing Jenna's still figure. But as they stepped inside, the warmth of their love clashed against the stark reality of the hospital room. Jenna, Tyler whispered, heart laid bare. The steady beeping of machines mingled with the tension in the air. But with every passing moment, Daniel felt the resolve building in him, fueled by the love for his son, for Jenna, and all that had come to light. They would push through this together, come what may. In that moment, he also felt the unresolved past lingering, shadows whispering what Eric had yet to say, that nagging truth that still clung to him like a shadow. But now he had to set that aside. Jenna, we're here for you. Fighting for you, he murmured, his heart swelling with a new kind of hope. As he stood beside his son, listening to Tyler recount all the good times they'd shared with Jenna, Daniel felt the strength of their bond grow. The challenges ahead would test them all, but he realized this was more than just facing the demons of the past. It was about embracing the power of love and the promise of a better tomorrow. Together, they would shape their new reality, and somewhere behind him, he felt his phone buzz, a reminder there was much more to come, a world shifting, shaking off the old, and welcoming the new. This was just the beginning, and no matter how stormy the path might be, he was ready. You need to subscribe now. This is the moment to show your support and not miss our next exclusive story. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm. Your engagement creates the journey. Comment your reactions and feelings about the ending. We want to hear your hearts. Share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. Don't wait not even one more second. Only true fans understand the importance of supporting the channel through these actions.